So, you're Anthony Burch, the writer of Borderlands. Hi, this is Pixelmonsters D. And yesterday we saw your presentation of your game. There was a statement that you don't like sequels at Gearbox. Why did you do a sequel then?
Well, because we saw a lot of stuff in the first Borderlands that people really responded to and liked, and we thought we could push it even further, and a lot of people really liked the original Borderlands, so we figured we wanted to give them more of what they already liked. We had, the 87 bazillion guns, and this time we're like, yeah, that's cool, now let's take it even further and make it even better and refine a lot of the ideas we had in the first game. We had a lot of cool mechanics, I think, that we wanted more of the audience to understand, and so we've been focusing a lot on more visual feedback and all that stuff, and taking all the cool from the first game, making it even cooler, making it even more accessible so that more people can enjoy it.
That would be good. That's next question is really good for you, because it's the new story. Does it continue the first one, and what is it about?
Yeah, it's a continuation. It's 5 years after the events of the first game, after the vault was open. This guy named Handsome Jack came to Pandora. He owns the Hyperion Corporation. They make the claptraps and the news and some weapons. And he came to Pandora with the intention of making it a peaceful place, of cleaning up the frontier and killing all the bandits, which is okay, except for the fact that he considers anyone not part of the Hyperion corporate family a bandit. So he wants to kill, the Vault Hunters from the first game, Roland, Lilith, Mordecai, and Brick, who are NPCs in our game. The player characters. He wants to kill you, the player. And at the beginning of the game, he leaves you for dead in the Arctic tundra, and it's up to you, with the help of the guardian angel from the first game, who spoke to you through your mind, I guess, to find Jack and kill him and sort of save Pandora, free Pandora from his douchiness.
He's trying to do a purge or something of these races.
Basically, yeah. He considers everybody who's not working for him a bandit. So he wants to. He thinks of himself as a superhero. He thinks of himself as John Wayne cleaning up the frontier, but in reality he's more like a fascist kind of dictator.
You talked about enhancement you wanted to do on the first game. What was the most pressing enhancement you think that was necessary to do, that you wanted to realize?
Probably the increased focus on integrating the story with the game mechanics and your missions that you're going to be on, rather than just having story be a thing that a lot of people could give or take or miss in the first game. We wanted to make it so that you can still ignore it if you wish in this game, because if you're just a gamer who wants to just get the loot and have fun, that's totally cool. But we wanted to make it this sort of omnipresent experience, so that you're going through the game feeling like you're part of a cohesive adventure, rather than just doing some quests and getting some loot, while you're still going to be doing all that awesome stuff.
So the goal is to make the game more intriguing for solo players, I think. Right?
Yeah, very much so. The co-op experience was great in the first game. If you played it in single player, there was some. I think we could have stood to make the story a little bit more connected with the missions to make the single player experience more fun.
Yeah, absolutely. What would you say? How do you ensure variety in the gameplay than in the first title?
Well, since everything has been improved, the variety comes from a bunch of different directions. The guns now have, depending on the manufacturer, they fire a little bit differently. So the TDOR guns, when you reload them, you throw them like grenades. The Vladov guns fire like miniguns. So we already had those 87 bazillion guns that had all these minor statistical differences and sometimes major statistical differences. Now they actually feel different. They look different. They fire different. The AI is now much improved, so they'll run for cover, call for backup. We have fire skags that will do AoE attacks and turn every skag around them into fire skags as well, so you'll have a lot of improvisation you'll have to do within fights, strategy and stuff like that. The environments are much more varied now. We saw one sliver of Pandora in the first game that was more deserty, and now we're going to see the Arctic wastelands and the grasslands, and we'll have some desert, we'll have Hyperion City, our sort of Dubai city, and it's all around. It's going to be a much more varied, I think, adventure, both in terms of the minute-to-minute gameplay and the overarching sort of experience you'll have going through the world.
What would you say? What is the key feature, the key outstanding point of your Borderlands 2 for players who don't like, who are not interested in the bazillions of gun combinations?
I think the hybridization of the RPG aspect with the shooter aspect, even if you don't like the guns, the fact that we have these new classes like the Gunzerker, and the fact that their skills are now even more improved, and we have even more of what we call game-changing skills that change the way you play once you put points into them. I think that makes it really interesting to go, ooh, do I really want this overheat skill that allows my fire rate to get faster the longer I hold down the trigger, so that I want to get a gun with a big ammo capacity, or do I want the skill that allows me to use two guns when I go into downstage? escalate. So I can run in, get almost killed, and then when I'm just bleeding out, just blast somebody with 2 guns, and then get back on my feet really quickly. That sort of strategy is very interesting, I think.
Yeah, I think it was very tactical when we saw it yesterday. That's cool. The first one was cut for German release. Do you see any problems with the second one to get a rating in Germany?
We're looking into seeing how we can handle that. We might do a cut release, we might not. It sort of depends. That's one of those things we're really focusing on now, because we have a very brutal game, and it's going to be interesting to find that line of, you know.
Yeah, it's not so brutal on many others. I find it quite okay. You had like 4 DLCs for the first game. It was quite DLC heavy game. What would you say? How do you balance these DLC into the game without handicapping gamers who don't buy them?
Well, the thing is that we got the level cap was increased with every DLC. We could have done it so that in order to get the level cap increase, you had to buy the DLC, but instead we said no, it's a free patch that comes out with the DLC that increases the level cap. So if all you care about is the vanilla game, you're going to get all the benefits of that stuff too. The ideal way I think to do DLC, and I've heard this sort of analogy before, is like bad DLC sells you 3/4 of a pie at a restaurant, and then asks you, do you want to pay extra for the remaining part of the pie? Good DLC gives you a pie and goes, hey, do you want another slice of pie? And then you go, yeah, and buy that. I think that's the way the Borderlands DLC has worked, where they've been these cool self-contained adventures. Like General Knox, was probably the one of the best evolutions of taking the story and making that more integrated with things and giving you that awesome loot at the end and all that kind of stuff. The Zombie Island, Moxie had that cool tournament stuff. The new Robot Revolution had, that story follow-up to like, why did Claptrap turn into this assassin? I very much feel that the DLC strategy we have is very cool.
You definitely had some great ideas for the DLCs. All right, we're almost through. Let me see if I have any questions left. Yeah, can you talk about the new classes you have integrated? Do you have any new classes?
We have one new class we're showing off here, who is the Gunzerker. His name's Salvador. We have 4 classes altogether that we're only talking about Salvador for right now. But his action skill is that he can dual wield any 2 guns in the game, no matter what they are. And he's very much a shoot first, never ask questions kind of character. And he's a ridiculous amount of fun once you get going with him.
Okay, I think that's it. Thank you.
All right, thank you.
Great interview.
Very nice to meet you.